Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Crystal. I'm in my, well, not my car, my husband's car. I'm waiting outside of my daughter's piano lesson again, so I thought I'd hop on. I know I didn't post a video last week. That's a long story with that. I haven't been experimenting food-wise, recipe-wise, keeping it clean carnivore still. But I did have a car accident last week. So kind of interrupted my video editing and posting and all that on all platforms. So I have to play catch up. All is well with my accident. My car is not okay, hence I'm in my husband's car. But that will sort itself out. It was not my fault. No one was hurt. And I just have to find a replacement car now, which is always fun. This is like the worst time ever for that, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. But I hadn't been experimenting a lot with new recipes or anything, keeping pretty much everything basic. I did make something before my accident. I was planning to show it that weekend, and it just didn't work out. I years ago had made a recipe that's only on IG. It's pepperoni puffs. They are carnivore and they're delicious, but I wanted to try making a PSMF version, and it worked out great, and I thought I'd share it. It's similar to my other original recipe, but again, lighter and more protein sparing friendly. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. My original pepperoni puff recipe is only on IG. It's not here on YouTube. It was, I think, over 2 years ago on the IGTV section of Instagram, if you're familiar with it. It's not a very long video. I could maybe see about posting it somehow on YouTube's shorts section, but it is an old video. But in the meantime, I thought I'd share the PSM version I've whipped up. It was good. I also did a little like everything but the bagel bite type puff thing too. It was really good. So I'll share that as well. And yeah, that's it. I thought I would just check in and say hi, because I'm not going to talk a lot in the video on how to make the puffs. I'm just going to do a voiceover, and I will catch up at the end of the video. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy these these pepperoni puffs. I started by measuring 1.5 cups of liquid egg whites. This is just the Kirkland egg whites. I added it to my mixing bowl, and then I added a teaspoon of cream of tartar. I then started my machine and let it do its thing. I usually end up whipping my egg whites for about 5 minutes on a high speed, or the highest speed. While it was mixing, I then went to measure out my dry ingredients that I would add to after my egg whites had stiffened. So I measured out the egg white protein powder first. I measured out 35 grams of the egg white protein powder, and then I grabbed my whole egg powder. I measured out 20 grams of the whole egg powder. If you do not have whole egg powder, you could use 1 to 2 egg yolks instead. I just really like using the powder. I find it gives the puffs a nice texture. I added 2 teaspoons of powdered or grated Parmesan, a dash of salt, and a teaspoon of nutritional yeast. I gave all my dry ingredients a good mix, just to make sure they were well combined. There's no sweetener in this recipe as well. Just the Parmesan cheese, the egg white powder, the whole egg powder, salt, and nutritional yeast. Once my egg whites were stiffened, I turned down the speed and added the remainder of the dry ingredients, or I should say I added the dry ingredients. And then I added a tablespoon of melted butter, to my mixer. I am still waiting on my butter powder. I don't think it's ever going to come. It's been so long, but I've been adding a tablespoon of melted butter. You can see it brings down my mixture a little bit, but not too much. I had to continue mixing with my spatula just to make sure it was all incorporated. You could kind of see the color difference there with the white and cream. So just made sure everything was well combined. And then once I got it combined and mixed together well, I had a large piping bag that I had propped open with a cup, and I added my mixture to my piping bag. I should say too, I got it as full as I could, but there was still a little bit in my bowl that I had to add to my piping bag midway through. So I have a little silicone muffin tray here that I sprayed with avocado oil, and I started piping out my puff mixture. I made a little bit of a mess to start, but after that it was smooth sailing. This was so quick and easy to fill using my piping bag. And then once I got all the muffins filled, I went on to my baking sheet. I wasn't sure how many puffs I would get on this baking sheet with the amount of mixture I had. So I just went to town. I didn't follow a pattern or anything like that. Pretty much just piping out a dollop of mixture and going on to the next. I had a full tray. By the time I was done piping, I even overlapped on some of the baking sheet versus where the liner was, but that's okay. I was willing to risk it. I didn't want to pull out another pan. So here I am breaking apart cheese curds and just shoving them in the muffin tray. These would be the everything but the bagel puffs that I'm making here. So I just added a little piece of cheese curd. If you're not familiar with cheese curds, here in Canada, we use them generally for poutines. If you don't have cheese curds, you could cut up little squares of mozzarella. That would work, which is essentially what cheese curds are, just curds of mozzarella. So I kind of just broke a small amount off into each one, trying to keep the cheese count low, of course. And these are like the little cupcake muffin molds, so not very big at all. And then I just brushed over the mixture with my finger so that the cheese curd was completely covered. Once they were all covered and smoothed out, so to speak, I grabbed my everything but the bagel seasoning and topped a fair amount on top. I know my camera is off angle here and you're not getting a full view of the other tray, but I sprinkled a little amount of cheese on each puff and then placed one pepperoni slice, and I left some plain. There's like minimal amount of cheese, and this is light mozzarella that I was using, not regular mozzarella. So once that was all done, I placed them in the oven at 325 degrees Fahrenheit, I should say. So because this was such a small amount of mixture, I didn't have them in there very long. It was only about 10 minutes. My oven does run a little bit on the hotter side, and I pulled them out. You can see some of them were just starting to turn brown a little bit, but they were still nice and puffy. Again, not very long. You'll have to use your better judgment with your own oven, but because it is such a little amount of puff mixture, you don't want to overcook them. Otherwise, they will be not the right texture or almost too firm. These were nice, fluffy, puffy, and soft. And here I am. I'm testing out the everything but the bagel puff first. and these were so good. The cheese actually melted nicely. I wasn't sure how this would turn out with the cheese in the center, but it was really good. And then I went on to test out the protein pepperoni puffs, and they held up really well too. I was really happy with the texture of these. It was super light and fluffy because I had no marinara sauce or anything that I was using. Sticking strict carnivore, I was quite pleased with how they tasted. I'm going to break one open here so you can get a better look. But if you were not following strict carnivore, you could totally dip these in some marinara or pizza sauce, and it would be really good as well. And even these everything but the bagel puffs, you could dip them in marinara. That would be really good. Here I am opening one up, and yeah, I was happy. I was so happy with these. They were so good, light and fluffy. I'll definitely be making these again. Actually, I'm going to make them again for this week's prep. But yeah. So I did end up plating a few for photo ops and for eating. But with the rest, I stored them in a Ziploc in the fridge. And then here I am just eating some, so I thought I would tape. This was either the next day or the day after, I can't remember, and I didn't heat them up. I was just kind of snacking on them after I had finished a meal and I was still hungry, and you can see they are so fluffy still, and these didn't get sticky. Sometimes my buns get sticky on top after they've been in the fridge. Here is another day. I took a couple and heated them up in my air fryer just for like a minute or two. And it took no time at all because they really are quite small, and it didn't change the texture or anything. It just heated them up really nice. Even the everything but the bagel puff stayed really nice. I was really quite impressed. This was my lunch, I believe, and I was just having it something on the side to munch with. And again, here's a bite in after they were stored in the fridge, reheated, and here, these were so good. They reheated so good. I was quite happy. And then a couple days later, with the plain ones that I had, I reheated them and used them as like a little type naan puff. I had some rotisserie chicken that I made into like a butter chicken, and so these were like little miniature naans. It was so good. And that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed these recipes. I really love them. It's been a nice change for me to have something else to top up meals with or have while making my meals. I know I love my meat chips, but I'm finding it hard to have something that isn't cheese cracker based or cheese based, and all that with trying to stay stricter carnivore. And I'm sticking to stricter carnivore right now just because I had something and I don't know what that I reacted to. So I'm just kind of working all things out. I actually just had green onion or not chives, but yeah, green onion just yesterday back after a couple weeks, and I know that would be fine, but I'm just starting back at base one. And yeah, I've kept everything pretty basic. I just again, with these pepperoni puffs, thought it was a nice change of pace from meat chips and or a meal. I can't do cheese crackers and stuff, which I love, but with protein sparing, they don't work into my macros. That's nice. So these protein or pepperoni puffs worked out great for that in that sense. I've been trying to switch things up and step away from OMAD for a little bit, but it's, to tell you the truth, I haven't talked a lot about it. I'm struggling with trying to do 2MAD even, but I haven't talked about it a lot, like I said, because I am struggling, but I'm trying to change things up a bit. I'm not sure it's going to work out for me, so I won't go into too much detail on that, but we'll see how it goes. If I do, maybe I'll explain a little bit more on that at a later date. But Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed these pepperoni puffs and the everything but the bagel puffs. They are awesome. If you do try them, let me know. Let me know what you think. If you liked the video, don't forget to give a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you're new here. And if you're returning here, thank you again for coming back. I'm sorry again that the posting schedule has been a bit delayed. That was one goal I set at the new year and it's already bombed on me, but hopefully from this point forward it will set out more like I planned for the new year anyways. But yeah, that is it. Thanks guys. I will catch you in the next video. Bye.